We now move on to more details about primary data. So our topic is collection of primary data, census versus sample. Let us see first how we can proceed. Suppose we have to conduct a study of 2,000 children and their parents in a school. There are two ways. There are two ways of making this study. One, contact all 2,000. One way. Second, contact only 10%. That is 200. When we contact all the entire set of 2,000, it is called universe. It is called universe. It is also called population. Population here doesn't mean number of people. Population here means number of items to be covered in the survey. There may be people, there may be things, there may be anything. And when we contact a part of this universe, say only 200, we call it a sample. तो हम उसको सैंपल बोलते हैं. मैथमेटिक्स की भाषा में we can call it population subset. Population subset. यहां तक तो आप समझ गए होंगे. 2000 बच्चों का सर्वे करना है, सबको लें तो ये 2000 यूनिवर्स कहलाएगा. इसमें से कुछ को लें तो वो सैंपल कहलाएगा. The survey done in these manners, it is called census survey. And in this manner, when you take only a part of it, we call it sample survey. Census survey and sample survey. There are 2,000 children. There are 2,000 items. Each item is called an element. हर आइटम को हम एलिमेंट बोलते हैं. So, in this we take all elements And in sample survey we take selected elements. We take selected elements. So broadly, there are two ways of conducting a survey. The census survey, take all the elements, or the sample survey, take the selected elements. Now the question arises, which is better? Census versus sample. Which is better? We will bring in all the elements which we had already talked about. It will all depend upon time. Two, naturally, cost. Time, cost. 3, information required. क्या क्या इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, कितनी चाहिए, and above all, level of accuracy. कितना accuracy level चाहिए? Accuracy कहां से आती है? Who conducts survey? The people, the trained personnel, they conduct survey. Trained manpower. More they are trained, more can be the accuracy. Where do you think can provide more training? In census or sample? In sample you require few people, few trained people. So it is easier to train few people. In census you require large number of people. For example, in our example of school children, for conducting 200, if you require 2 people, for conducting 2000, you require 20 people. You have to train 20 persons, 20 teachers, 20 persons. So clearly, on this basis, normally, sample can give you more accuracy. See, only in terms of collection. सैंपल का अपने डिसएडवांटेज भी होते हैं, लेस कवरेज होती है, बहुत सारी चीजें मिस हो जाती हैं, उसकी हम बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. So level of accuracy, the people who conduct survey, how much trained they are. That is, so we have two principal methods of conducting of collecting primary data. Now we concentrate on sample basis. Because most of the surveys in the country are on sample basis. Barring a few, for example, population census is on census basis. Otherwise, most of the surveys are on sample basis. So we now talk about sample in detail. First, we will talk about methods of choosing a sample. सैंपल चुनना इतना आसान नहीं है. You have to think on many lines. Let us first briefly review the terms involved. One term is universe. We have said if you cover the entire population, all number of items, then it is universe. If you take a part of the universe, say 10% of the students, it is a sample. Second term, we are already familiar with it. Then there are sampling units. Sampling unit, it's a new term. These are of two kinds. Primary sampling units then elements. Primary means you make groups from within the sampling units. Groups. Once you select the group, then you take each item in the group. So second is element, choosing items in each group. So we have primary sampling unit groups and then elements, each item in the group. Now we come to another aspect of methods of kinds. Kinds of sampling. What is sampling means? Selecting items from a universe. Example, 2000 children is a universe. We have to select 10%. The question is which 10%? कौन से 10%? That is sampling. Selecting items from a universe. There are two methods. There are two methods of sampling. Random. Purposive. Random, purposive. क्या फर्क है दोनों में? क्या अंतर है दोनों में? What is the difference between the two? बिल्कुल आम भाषा में लें, इन कॉमन लैंग्वेज, रैंडम मीन्स बाय चांस, पर्पसिव मीन्स बाय चॉइस। क्या मतलब है इन दोनों का? चॉइस तो ठीक है, इन्वेस्टिगेटर की मर्जी है, जो मर्जी आए छांट ले। चांस से क्या मतलब है? रैंडम बाय चांस। लेट अस स्टडी दिस इन डिटेल। चांस से क्या मतलब है, इसके बारे में हम अब बात करते हैं। नाउ वी कॉन्सेंट्रेट अवर स्टडी ऑन random sampling. There are two methods of sampling, random sampling and purposive sampling. So we now concentrate our study on random sampling. Random sampling. इसके कई नाम हैं, बड़े ऑल्टरनेटिव्स नेम से। एक और नाम है जिससे इसका मीनिंग क्लियर होता है, वी आल्सो कॉल इट probability sampling. Probability is a topic in mathematics. So if you are well versed with mathematics, probably you will immediately understand what does it mean. In probability, in mathematics, you normally take an example, we toss a coin. So either tail will come or head will come. There you know, tail and head have equal chance of coming. So when we say random sampling is by chance, what does that chance means? That chance means equal probability of being selected. 2000 स्टूडेंट्स में से हर स्टूडेंट को चूज करने का चांस एक जैसा है. Any of the 2000s can be selected in the sample. There is no bias against any element. Element means students. There is no bias against element. But sometimes, even though the investigator doesn't feel like having any bias, some biases creep in. Some biases creep in. Some may be intentional, some may be unintentional. You may like students of higher class, that is intentional. Unintentionally, you have chosen a particular type of students. Unintentionally, you didn't have the intention. That is unintentional. So bias can still creep in. But the efforts are being made to make the sample representative, that each element has an equal chance of being selected in the sample. There are several methods of choosing a sample. Pick and choose. Collect all the 2,000 students on the ground and start picking randomly. But it has a limitation. What about those who are absent? They will never be selected. So there are many students who don't have an equal chance of being selected. This is one. Another could be prepare a list of 2,000 students. Then pick and choose from the list. उस लिस्ट में से 200 स्टूडेंट्स ले लीजिए. There is another way which you normally see on TV. Prepare a card for each student. Shuffle and reshuffle them. And then you ask somebody to draw a card. जिसको आप draw of lots भी बोल देते हैं. In this way, out of 2,000 cards which are in a heap, not systematically placed, you select 200 cards. That is another way. It's like lottery. Still another way is divide into groups. Groups में divide कर लीजिए. For example, there may be 20 sections. There may be, say, 40 sections. Each section is having 50. So there may be 40 groups. You have to select 200. Select 5 students from each class. So like this, pick and choose, prepare a list, prepare cards, divided them into groups. There can be various methods, and each method has its own advantage and disadvantage. On this basis, methods of random sampling are classified into the following groups. Two major groups are unrestricted restricted, unrestricted, restricted. Unrestricted is sometimes also called simple method. It is also called simple method. Within restricted group, it is divided into three categories: stratified, stratified, cluster, stratified, cluster, and systematic. Stratified, cluster, and systematic. So broadly then, we have unrestricted, stratified, cluster, and systematic. Let us now explain each separately. So first we take unrestricted random sampling. In unrestricted, we also call it simple random sampling. Entire universe is taken as one unit. 2000 बच्चे हैं, 2000 बच्चों का एक यूनिट हो गया. And selection is made on random basis. Random का वैसे मतलब क्या होता है? कोई खास मेथड नहीं अपनाया आपने. जस्ट ड्रॉ ऑफ लॉट्स. मैंने कहा कार्ड्स में से निकाल लो, 200 कार्ड निकाल लो. Now this draw of lots can also be on many bases. We will take up each. चिट्स बना ली, कार्ड्स बना लिए आपने. लेकिन इसके लिए अब एक स्पेशलाइज्ड टेबल आती है. Random number table is a very big table, many pages. Random number table. Now, what is a random number table? We will take up it shortly. How to use it? Random number table, a small example of random number table is this. Note that these numbers are not in order. These numbers are not in order. How to use this table? You have elements, 2000 elements. Arrange elements in some order. Elements को किसी order के अंदर arrange करो. Arrange elements in some order. This is the first step. What can be the order? It can be date of admission of the student. It can be alphabetically according to names of the students. Once you have arranged all the 2000 students in some order, and the random table is before us. Random table has columns, these called columns, if you see from up to down, and these are rows. I have written only a few just to give you an example. One page of the table is in the book. These are columns. अगर यहाँ से पढ़ना शुरू करें, अगर ऐसे पढ़ना शुरू करें, तो ये होगा rows. These are rows. So we can start either from column or from rows. We can start from here, like this, and go like this. We can start from here and go like this. There is another choice. You need not start from here. You can start from here and then go like this. You can start from there and then go like this. You can start from anywhere in the table and proceed further. Then how to select? These are 5-digit numbers, remember. But we have to select only, our number is 4 digit. Our number is 4 digit. In this way, or in this situation, how do we compromise? The rule is ignore the last digit. So ignore 4. You ignore 4. What do you read? If you start from here, what do you read? 1328. There are 2000 students. Somebody must be numbered 1328. Select that. You move to the next. What do you find? You also ignore 4 here. What do you find? It is more than 2000. Just ignore this number. इसको छोड़ दो. Similarly, you can ignore this number also because it is more than 2000. Move to the next. You take 0019. You take the 19th student. You take the 19th student in the list. Like that, you can go on. Similarly, you can proceed with the, for example, if you move this way, you ignore this, and this number is in your table, adopt this. You ignore this, and your number is in the table, take it. You ignore this, but this number is not your table, forget about it. This number is not in your table, forget about it. This number is in your table, take it. Like this, select all the numbers which are in the list of universe, which match with your list, and go on rejecting which do not match with your list. This table is very long. One of the pages of this table is printed in the book. You have only to explain the method. You're not going to ask to choose the sample and all that. So let me repeat. You can start from anywhere in the table. Suppose we start from here. Our number is 4 digit, but this is 5 digit. Ignore this. Take first 4 digits. If they match with your universe, take it. Otherwise, reject it. In this way, you can use this random table. This was about unrestricted random sample. Now we come to restricted random sample. अब restricted शब्द का मतलब क्या है? What does it mean? Restrict करना, confine करना. We can say putting some conditions. Conditions attached during the process of selection. इस टाइप का लेना है, इस टाइप का नहीं लेना है. It will all depend upon your purpose and the methodology you want to adopt. We have already seen that there are 3 types of restricted random samples: stratified, cluster, systematic. Let us take first stratified. Stratified random sample. ये stratified जो शब्द है strata से बना है, STRATA, strata. Strata means groups. So you can always say grouped random sample. Strata. So what is being done? The universe, 2000 students, subdivided into groups. I told you 40 sections of 50 students each. Now, what is the characteristics of group? There should be homogeneity within the group, within a strata. Homogeneity से क्या मतलब है? लगभग एक जैसे, not all एक जैसे, लगभग एक जैसे. So if you take a section of, let us say, 5th class, it's likely that nearly all the students must be of the same age, nearly the same age, same height, similar heights, and all that. So there is great homogeneity within the class, but there should be marked differences between groups, between sections, between stratas. For example, if section of 5th class student, you can't compare it with 10th class student. There will be marked differences between the two, in their age, in their heights, in their understanding, and so many things. Then once you have divided the universe into groups, the next natural step is select items for sampling from each strata. Select items for sampling from each strata. What are the ways of selecting items? One way is proportional. You have to select, let us say, 5 students from each section of 50 students. That is proportional, 10%. From each, 10% from each. Then there will be fixed number from each. Now this fixed number doesn't mean that you select 5 from each. It is disproportionate. एक सेक्शन 40 का है, वहां से भी 5 ले लिए. एक सेक्शन 50 का है, वहां से भी 5 ले लिए. ये disproportionate हो गया. So you can select either on proportionate basis or disproportionate basis. If you compare with unrestricted sampling, there is no grouping in the unrestricted sampling. There is grouping in the restricted sampling, stratified random sampling. Then we come to the second, cluster random sampling. Cluster also means groups. Strata also means groups. Cluster also means groups. But a different name is given because the method of selection is slightly different as compared to stratified. In this also, first step, subdivide universe into clusters or groups. Cluster or groups. अब ये stratified से अलग कैसे है? In stratified, we take a sample from all the groups. In cluster sampling, we take an additional step. Suppose there are 50 clusters, 50 sections. We do not take all the sections. First we draw a sample out of 50 sections. Suppose we select 20 sections. We select 10 sections. And then from those 10 sections, from those 10 clusters, we select students from each cluster. So how is it possible? 5th क्लास के 5 सेक्शन है, 5 में से एक ले लो. 6th क्लास के 5 सेक्शन है, 5 में से एक ले लो. Like that. Because all the 5th class students are likely to be similar. So you take one instead of all the 5. There are other examples too. For example, workers in factories. There are, say, 100 factories. We have to make a survey of workers in those factories. There is a marked homogeneity between clusters. All are producing one and the same thing. So there will be marked homogeneity. But within the factory, there may be differences between the worker. There may be non-homogeneity within the workers. That is cluster sampling. So how it is different from stratified? In stratified, we divide into groups and we take sample from each group. In cluster sampling, we also divide into groups, but we take sample from selected groups. Then we come to the third. Systematic sampling. Systematic random sampling. What is the meaning of systematic? Systematic means ordered. क्या मतलब हुआ? Items in the universe which are first ordered on some basis. यूनिवर्स के जो आइटम्स हैं उनको आपने ऑर्डर किया 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 like that. You go on ordering these items. Then suppose you have ordered them into 2000 students. They have been ordered on some basis. Then you decide you have to select 200. That is 1 out of every 10. 1 out of every 10. When you have to select 1 out of every 10, it is called sampling interval. The sampling interval is 10. 1 out of every 10. Now how will you start selecting? Say I select 4. I start with 4. That means next student will be 14th, next will be 24th, next will be 34th, next will be 44th, like that. So when you select in this way, उसको हम बोलते हैं sampling start. इसको बोलते हैं सैम्पलिंग स्टार्ट. तो सैम्पलिंग इंटरवल से 1 out of 10 एंड सैम्पलिंग स्टार्ट कहां से सिलेक्ट करना शुरू करेंगे? यू कैन टेक 4, यू कैन टेक 5, यू कैन टेक 6, यू कैन टेक 7. अगर 7 से शुरू करते हैं 7, 17, 27. अगर 8 से शुरू करते हैं 8, 18, 28, 38, 48, 58, 68, like that. You can go on selecting. This is restricted random sampling. So we have talked about stratified random sampling. There was another Purposive random sampling. Purposive random sampling. We have not to say much about this because this is by choice. Left to investigator. जो सर्वे कर रहा है उसके ऊपर छोड़ दिया. He or she should select on the basis of the characteristics of universe, but only thing wanted is he should not be biased, not deliberately biased. He should or she should select according to the purpose in hand. That is purposive sampling. So we have talked about two types of sampling: unrestricted and restricted, and then we have purposive sampling. Now let us come to some facts and figures. Facts and figures about sources of data. Let me put it like this: official sources. Official sources of data. Official means what? Government. The data which comes from government agencies. थोड़ा हिंदुस्तान के बारे में बात करेंगे, इंडिया के बारे में बात करेंगे कि भाई इंडिया में ये जो डेटा आता है सरकारी लेवल पर, ये कहां से आता है. I told you earlier, there is a Ministry of Statistics. It is the apex body. Apex body से क्या मतलब है? Apex का मतलब क्या है? सबसे बड़ी. किसमें? डेटा कलेक्शन में. मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक्स. इसमें बहुत सारी संस्थाएं शामिल हैं. I have given you some names earlier. CSO, Central Statistical Office, NSSO, National Sample Survey Office. Then Government of India has a computer center. Computer center which collects data. Then accounts office. जहां गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के सारे अकाउंट्स रखे जाते हैं. List is not yet complete. There are many other agencies. Registrar General of India, पॉपुलेशन सेंसस जो कंडक्ट करते, रजिस्ट्रार जर्नल ऑफ इंडिया. डायरेक्टोरेट ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स एंड स्टैटिस्टिक्स, ये हर स्टेट में अलग अलग होता है. दिल्ली में अलग, यूपी में अलग, पंजाब में अलग. डायरेक्टोरेट ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स एंड स्टैटिस्टिक्स. मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रेलवेज, लॉट ऑफ डेटा. मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस, lot of data. Without that, ministry can't work. Then another is Niti Aayog. This is a recent name, but earlier it was called Planning Commission. You must be familiar with this word, Planning Commission. Note that his name has been changed from Planning Commission to Niti Aayog. Niti doesn't mean policy here. Niti here means National Institution for Transforming India. NITI. Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog cannot move a step without data. They require huge data. They also collect data from various sources. Then we have another, RBI, Reserve Bank of India. Huge amount of data, particularly on money, foreign exchange, even on many other aspects of industries, agriculture. They collect their own data. Then there is another important organization, Labor Bureau. Labor Bureau. They collect data on workers. Once again, this list is not exhaustive. There are so many. So we have just given you examples. As a part of your course, you are supposed to study two sources in detail. One, Census of India. Another, National Sample Survey Office. Census of India, other National Sample Survey Office. Let us note a few things. Details are given in the book, of course, but let us note a few things about these two official sources. One, Census of India. Census of India. सेंसस का मतलब अब तक आप समझ चुके होंगे. सेंसस का ब्रॉडली जो मतलब होता है, when you cover the entire universe. Universe doesn't mean the world. You define a universe and you cover the entire universe. In India, census has a long history. But most of them were not very systematic census. You must have heard the name Kautilya. Kautilya's Arthashastra. There are evidences that census were conducted then. Then there are some evidences that during Mughal period, censuses were conducted. But first serious attempt was made in 1881 when India was under British rule. 1881 में पहली बार serious, regular, systematic. Then every 10 years a census was conducted under British rule. Most probably in 1921 it was stopped again. I don't know, maybe due to wars or some such things. Then when India became independent, an act was passed. Census Act in 1948. That is another development. Census Act in 1948. First census was conducted in 1948, not 1951. The next census was conducted in 1961. Population census, I'm talking of population census. Then every 10 years, it is being conducted. Last census was conducted in 2011. Last census was conducted in 2011, and next is of course going to be in 2021. This is a brief history. What does census provide?